You know how some words just stick? They just land perfectly? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on what makes language so powerful. We're talking about the real magic tricks, the writer's secret toolkit for making words sing, sting, and stay with you long after you've read them. So, let me ask you straight up. Have you ever read a sentence that just stopped you cold? One that made you go, whoa, how did they do that? It totally feels like magic, right? But here's the cool part. It's not. It's a craft. It's a collection of tools that, believe it or not, anyone can learn to spot and even use. And this amazing toolkit? Well, it has a name. Figures of speech. The best way to think about them is as special tricks for busting words out of their boring, literal dictionary cages. They're basically the secret ingredient that takes a plain old sentence and makes it creative, expressive, and just way more powerful. Okay, so where do we start? Let's begin with some of the most common tools in the box, the ones used for comparison. These are all about creating these super fast connections in your brain by mashing two totally different things together in a really clever way. First up, we've got the simile. Now, this one's a pretty gentle comparison. It kind of politely suggests one thing is like another, and you'll always spot it because it uses the magic words like or as. So when you hear, her smile is as bright as the sun, we all know her smile isn't literally a giant ball of fire, right? Of course not. We're just borrowing that feeling, that warmth, that brilliance, to show you instantly just how amazing her smile is. All right, now let's meet the simile's much bolder, more dramatic cousin, the metaphor. This one doesn't mess around. It's a direct, punchy comparison. It doesn't say something is like something else. It straight up declares it is something else. Time is a thief. See that? No like or as to soften the blow. It's this incredibly powerful statement that makes you feel like time is literally stealing from you. It's way more intense than a simile. So let's just nail this down. Here's the big difference, right? A simile is indirect. It builds this nice, gentle little bridge between two ideas with like or as. But a metaphor? It's totally direct. It just smashes the two ideas together and says, boom, these are the same thing. One suggests, the other one insists. All right, we've covered comparisons. Next up, we're going to get a little more creative, a little more imaginative. This next batch of tools is all about making language pop by, bending the rules of reality just a little. So let's talk about personification. This is such a cool one. It's when we give human qualities or actions to things that, aren't human. Like in the example, the wind can't literally whisper, can it? It doesn't have a mouth. But when we say, the wind whispered, you instantly get a feeling, a mood. It feels quiet, maybe a little secretive. It's a trick to bring the non-living world to life and make it feel more connected to us. And now for a tool I guarantee you use every single day. Hyperbole. This is basically the art of massive exaggeration for effect. Come on, you've totally said, I've told you 1,000,000 times. You haven't actually counted, have you? Of course not. You're just using that huge exaggeration to show how incredibly frustrated you are. It's not about lying. It's all about adding emotional punch. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. So far, we've been talking about what words mean. Now, let's talk about how they sound. This next group of tools is all about using the music and language itself to create rhythm and make an impact. We're talking about stuff that hits your ear just as much as your brain. And we're kicking this section off with alliteration. This is simply when you repeat the same sound at the start of a bunch of words in a row. You know this one for sure. Just listen. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That put sound, it's just so punchy. It creates this rhythm that's super catchy, really memorable, and honestly, it's just fun to say. Now this next one sounds similar, but it's different. It's repetition. And here, we're not just repeating a sound, we're repeating a whole word or a phrase to really hammer a point home. And trust me, the difference is huge. Never give up. That's a nice thought. But never, never, never give up? Whoa, that's a command. That repetition just elevates the whole thing, makes it feel so much more urgent and powerful. And then we have maybe the most fun one of all, onomatopoeia. What a great word. These are simply words that sound like the noise they're describing, like crash, bang, moo, or the buzz of a bee. The word literally is the sound. It's like this awesome shortcut that drops you right into the middle of the action. You don't just read it, you practically hear it. All right, for our last section, we're getting into some really clever stuff. I'm talking about contradictions. These are the tools that work by messing with your expectations. They take two ideas that seem like they shouldn't go together, and they smash them together to create this really surprising, deeper kind of meaning. Let's start with the oxymoron.
This is when you take two words that are complete opposites and stick them right next to each other. Think about deafening silence. I mean, logically, that makes zero sense. How can silence possibly be deafening? But you feel it, right? Emotionally, it's perfect. It totally captures that feeling of a silence that's so heavy and intense, it's almost overwhelming, like a loud noise.
And last but not least, we have irony. Irony is all about the gap between what you expect to happen and what actually happens. And this example is just classic. A fire station burns down. I mean, come on. The one place on Earth you'd think would be safe from a fire is the one that burns down. That right there, that twist is the heart of irony. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? Well, it's this. Figures of speech aren't just fancy fluff to make writing sound pretty. They are the absolute engine of creative language. They're the tools we use to turn plain old information into an actual experience. They make words beautiful, powerful, and memorable. They help all of us get our ideas across way more effectively.
And that's our tour of the toolkit. But you know what? Now the real fun starts. Because now that you know what to look for, my question for you is, where are you going to spot this stuff next? In a song you love? A movie? An ad on TV? Or hey, maybe even in something you say later today. Keep your eyes and ears open, because I promise you now, you're going to see this magic everywhere.